Good day to all of you. How have all of you been? It's been quite some time since we last met. All right. Anyway, today my video is about leaders dealing with frustrations at workplace. This sounds familiar, right? I mean, all of us, right? If you tell me that you do not have frustrations at workplace, well, I guess probably you are not on planet Earth, yeah. Now, having to deal with frustrations in a team, it's actually normal, yeah, part of leadership. So organizations, whether you are big or small or complex, that involves many different people, all right, it is no surprise that people are going to become frustrated at one point or another. Now, frustration in the workplace often does not go away by itself, and it can get worse if it is left alone or unchecked. So, frustrated team members now rarely will give their best at work, and frustration may also be a sign of that your team is going through a problem or they may have a problem. Now, the good news is that frustration is an early warning sign. So when you see signs of frustration, you can start to take action to prevent the situation from getting worse. Now, what frustration in your workplace that may look like? Now, to understand how to deal with frustration at your workplace, basically you need to be able to identify it, right? So actually it is not difficult to see the signs of frustration when you know what to look for. Right, number one, frustrated team members normally would have emotional outbursts. So most people try to remain calm for a long period of time before they eventually become frustrated enough to show it. So the emotions that build gradually, that they kept inside, with every frustrating event, it increases the chance of them blowing up. So eventually, it is just like a volcano; it will just erupt in an explosive emotional outburst. Yeah. Secondly, now frustrated people stop trying. Well, let's say Mr. or Miss X, right? He or she used to, try to improve things in your team, right? He will come up, with great ideas, and he's extremely proactive. Then suddenly one day it all stopped, and you did not notice it at that time. Now, she simply gets on with her work and she just goes home. So sometimes you can tell that he does not agree with you, but he will not bother speaking up anymore, right? So if your team member sounds like this person, you might just have a frustration problem. Number three, frustrated team members normally becomes unproductive or less productive. So you see, frustrated team members will spend time in damage control. All right, damage control mode, more than happy employees. So people in damage control normally they make themselves feel better by what? By venting their frustrations. All right, to other staff or to other team members. So if you notice that your staff is having more private door close conversations, it could be a sign that you have some frustrated people in your hands. So when your team is spending time venting, complaining, come on, remember, they are not working. So some venting can be a good stress release, but too much of it is not a good thing. Yeah. Number four, frustrated people becomes cynical. Yeah. Now, I'm sure you have heard this, phrase before. We have tried this before and it didn't work. These meetings are pointless. No use, waste time. That's just the way things are around here, right? Very familiar, right? Now, unfortunately, cynical team members are common in workplace. They are not uncommon, yeah. They are common, but it is best, to try not to have them in your team, right? Cynical team members can really damage efforts to improve your staff or your team. So continuously improving your team is really, really important. So you need people to support the improvement opportunities. Here are some of the common sources of frustration. Yeah. Now, it is far better to have a frank discussion with your staff or with your team members, yeah, than to just guess the source of frustration. However, right, here are some common sources, which I basically, have noticed over my years of experience or in my career. Yeah, number one, communication problem. You see, people are not communicating effectively in your team or with other team, resulting in lots of misunderstandings and wasted effort. Yeah, number two, lack of rewards and recognition. Now, team members or staff that feel as if they are not being rewarded or acknowledged for good work begin to think, all right, that it is a big waste of time, staying on in this company or contributing or anything like that. Then next one, limited career progression. Sometimes people become frustrated by what? By the limited opportunity for career development in their team. Next is what I call the process problems. So inefficient, slow processes can be a cause of frustration. So this is a big waste of time, and there is an easier way. And number five, not being heard. You see, when your staff or team member makes the effort to speak up with ideas without any of them being heard, guess what? Frustration will follow. So, how can you deal with frustration problems in your company or in your team? Right? Now that you are aware of the sources of frustration in your team, let us look at what you can do about it. So how are you going to deal with it? Right? Number one, deal with frustration by addressing it directly. Right? When you notice a frustrated team member or your staff, don't play the guessing game. Have a direct discussion about the behaviors that you have noticed. Approach that conversation with a constructive and curious mindset. Ask your team member or your staff questions to understand the true source of the frustration, and let them vent with you for a little while. All right, no harm, right? So, and try to emphasize with or rather empathize with their situation. So you may hear some uncomfortable truth. I mean, for people to tell you the truth, definitely it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be nice to your ears. But then this will be very helpful in the long run. Number two, you need to find the root cause and come up with a solution. You need to work with your staff, all right, with the team member, or perhaps your whole team. I'm not too sure. To move towards a solution, all right, to the frustration problem. So what you do is you start by finding the root cause of the issue, and the root cause, all right, which is the underlying problem that causes the frustration in the first place. And the best way to deal with the frustration is what? To fix the root cause. Remember, fix the root cause, not the symptom. Very important. Yeah. Use simple tools like the 5 whys. Why, WHY, yeah, 5 whys to work out the root cause of your frustration issue. And then what you do is you create a solution to fix the cause, not just the symptoms. So each level of why, will help you to get closer to the real problem. And sometimes you might need to ask why more than 5 times, or even less, for simpler issues. Number 3, start to deal with frustration issues quickly. Don't wait, when you notice frustrations in your team, don't wait until it goes away by itself. It will not. The chances that, of course, it will not, if you wait too long, it may have your team members running for the door, the other door. Yeah. So meet with your frustrated team members quickly. You don't need to fix the source of the frustration immediately, of course, but you need to show to your team, to your staff, that you are aware of the issue and you want to start doing something about it, right? So the longer you leave it, the more chance of you having to destroy motivation, and basically you ruin your own reputation. This is very dangerous. Number 4, deal with frustrations by being honest with your team. The worst thing that you can do to your staff is to give them a false promise of change, especially if the source of frustration is out of your direct control, all right? Things that you can't solve. So false hope may keep your people, all right, in the team for a slightly longer period, but then it will result in frustration levels rising even further. So if it is going to take you a while to work through the problem, well, it's very simple. Just be open about it. If you are unable to tackle the problem because it is outside, your control, well, you just have to be honest about it and try to be focused on the part of the issue that is in your control or within your influence, and then you focus on them, right? So then your team can see that your heart is in the right place and that you are trying to improve the situation. So they need to see that, all right? And you need to be really, really honest with your staff, right? Now, I hope that my little sharing, will be of some value to you and it really, really resonates with you, right? Once again, I'm Philip Leong. I'm doing what I'm doing for the very fact that leadership matters because people matter. So stay safe, stay healthy, and be a blessing to all those around you. And see you in my next video. Bye-bye.